Utah, give me 2.
What is up, everybody?
Utah,
Mike Virginia here.
Give me 2.
Oh, it did it twice. That's the whole bit there, right? Mike Virginia here, Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's, here for your questions. Hop in the live chat. That's what this show is about. I'm here to answer your questions. Solo show. Apologies for missing last week. I had a little bit of a illness going on, so kind of ran rampant through my house. So, but I'm feeling much better. Still got some lingering effects. So if I sound a little nasally, that's why. But yeah, hop in the live chat here. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have. First one off the bat here, Jamie, what's up, man? He wants to know, what are we doing with the boot down of Bobby Miller? Hope you have answers. Yeah. Bobby Miller was optioned back down. It looks like they're going to have him work with the pitching coach down in AAA for the foreseeable future, at least through the All-Star break and probably a little bit after that. Jamie, if you've been watching the show, you know that I'm probably a little bit more bullish on Bobby Miller than literally probably everybody else in the industry. So especially the Pallazzo guys. I'm not dropping him. So I'm just not doing it. So I know that a lot of people are like, oh, I need the space, or he's been bad. I get it. But we were drafting this guy in the top 50 for a reason. So, or the top 100. I forgot what his ADP was. And actually, I want to know that answer, actually. I just don't know of any player within his ADP range that you're just flat dropping him for. I know he's been bad, but you're kind of stuck with him. All right, so he was number 75 ADP. He was the number 26 pitcher off the board, or 22nd pitcher off the board. So in NFBC, he was number 22, and he was the number 73 player off the board. So I think you got to hold on to him. If you have an NA spot, I'm all for it. If you don't have any NA spots, or you need the roster space, I guess I'm fine with dropping him in a 10-team league. 12-team league, it's kind of borderline for me, so I don't know. Honestly, I'd probably still hold him if I could. Again, I will say, if Bobby Miller was dropped in any of my leagues, me personally, I am running to the waiver wire to get him, just because I think that the talent is still there. He just needs to work some stuff out. It would not surprise me at all in the second half. He just goes off and everyone's like, fuck, why did I drop Bobby Miller? I shouldn't have done that. That's what I think is a likely scenario. That's just my personal opinion. So that's why I'm not dropping him. So I don't have any answers for you. If you need the space, drop him. But if you're able to afford it, it sounds like he may just need a start or two after the All-Star break to get right, and they'll bring him back up. So I don't have any problem with that. But thanks for the question, Jamie. I hope you're doing well, man. I'm looking forward to the fantasy football stuff coming up from you. Make sure you guys go check out Out of Rhythm Sports. That's where Jamie's at. He'll be able to help you out over there with all your fantasy football questions. EAL Day, what's up, Mike? Got all the questions for you today, man. Let's go. Keeping it, drop them in the live chat, man. I'm happy to help. Eddie Buzz, good to see you, sir. You as well, my friend. Thank you very much for being here. EAL Day wants to know, Mark Vientos or Michael Bush, head-to-head cast league with OBP. It's still Vientos for me. I know Michael Bush has been absolutely hitting the crap out of the ball recently, and he went yaya against my O's yesterday. So, but a lot of people were talking about Michael Bush because that resurgence of him playing well again is coming back up into fruition here. Over the last month, he's actually been really, really good, hitting 341, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 13 runs, qualifies at both first and third. I believe Vientos does as well. And this is Yahoo formats, mind you. Yeah. I mean, Vientos has got 6 home runs and 16 RBIs over the last month. If you can find a way to get both, EA, I would. I love Michael Bush. I do, but I just think it's a lot of this. And I think Vientos probably has a little bit better rest of season value. But yeah, if I could find a way to get both of my team, I would do that. If I had to pick, it's still Vientos by this much. TM, head-to-head points. How do you rank this group rest of season? Noel V. Marte, Colt Keith, Michael Bush, Nathaniel Lowe, Angel Martinez, and Hoskins. That is a lot of players. Give me a second to think about this one. I'm going to go Colt Keith, number 1. It's funny because I was talking about it on Twitter, and I still kind of believe this. Colt Keith has been phenomenal, and he had another RBI triple today, and I believe 2 more runs scored, hitting under the 2-hole for the Tigers. I don't really know a whole lot about him, but I think he's good. I don't know if he's this good. Does that make sense? So I think he needs to be rostered in all formats while he's this hot, but I don't know if he's going to be producing like this all season long, I guess is my thing. So I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to go Nathaniel Lowe 1, Colt Keith number 2, Michael Bush 3, Hoskins 4, Marte Martinez. That's how I'd rank them. I'm in an 18 league, 504 deep. I traded Ryan Pepio and Gavin Williams yesterday for Hunter Brown and Jacob deGrom. Did I F up with this one? Pepio was not good lately, and I don't trust Gavin. I don't know if F up would be something that I would label it as. Honestly, I prefer the Pepio and Gavin Williams side, and here's why. We saw the carriage turn back into a pumpkin with Hunter Brown over the weekend, or last week at least. I think he still has a couple blow-up starts left in that arm, just who he is. I know he's been phenomenal. A lot of people bought on that. If I was that owner, I would have been looking to sell high as well and acquire both Pepio and Williams myself. So I think Hunter Brown still has value, but he's not going to be as good as he has been. I think he still's got the, like Michael Bush, up and downs, right? He's going to have good starts and bad starts, just like every starting pitcher. So I like Hunter Brown. I don't like Jacob deGrom because here's the thing. They are probably going to be sellers at the deadline. And they're looking to move Max Scherzer. They're looking to move a couple other pieces. I just don't know if they're going to be able to be in a position to rush Jacob deGrom into a spot where they're like, hey, we got nothing to play for, and we know you're always hurt, but go out there and throw anyways. So I think it's a lost season for Jacob deGrom. I don't see him back until August at the earliest, possibly mid-August, late August. But I wouldn't be surprised if they limited his action and his overall bullets in the gun and have him healthy for next year. So honestly, Eddie, I would have much rather preferred the Pepio and Gavin Williams side. But I'm interested to hear why you don't like Gavin Williams, because he shoved yesterday and looked phenomenal. I know it was against the Tigers, but still, or was it Monday? I think it was Monday he pitched. I love Gavin Williams. I think everybody on the show has made it clear that they love Gavin Williams, at least Britton, myself, and Gove. And Pepio looked pretty good against the Yankees yesterday. I think he had 7 strikeouts. So I think he turns it around too as well. But I'd much rather have the Pepio and Gavin Williams side. But F up is not a word I'd be willing to use. If it's a dynasty league, then sure, this is a decent trade. But if it's redraft, I'd much rather have Pepio and Gavin. Uncle Ted, what's up, man? He says, "What's up?" Not much, man. Just doing the Q&A here, trying to keep up with all the scores. I got MLB ticket, or not the Sunday ticket, whatever you call it. So I get to have access to all the games, which has been fun. So if you guys don't have that, I recommend that. It's one of the best things ever. I look forward to it every year. I used to not get it, and then I did, and I borrowed a friend's account. And I was like, I should just get my own. I love the MLB TV. It's phenomenal. So much fun to watch all those games. Eddie Buzz, before his matchup with the Twins, Hunter Brown was 5-0 his previous 5 starts. Right. We're talking about 5 starts. Let's talk about the ones before that as well, Eddie. Right. So, like I said, if I was the Hunter Brown and I got that trade, I'd be looking to sell high on Hunter Brown. And that's what I would have probably expected back in return. I like Pepio and Gavin Williams more than Hunter Brown rest of season. And Jacob deGrom was kind of just a meh piece to me. I don't think he's going to be pitching a lot this year. And I've been on that train, so I'm going to stick to that. I was on that train from the beginning of the season. And I know a lot of people are saying that he was going to be back in August. And they're going to be extremely careful with him given his injury history. And if they have nothing else to play for, I just don't see him pitching a whole lot. So, especially if they're sellers at the deadline. Will you recommend dropping Bobby Miller for Jeffrey Springs? I don't mind that. Same thing with the Rays are right in the thick of things here. I just don't know how many innings they're going to let him and Boz throw it out of the gate. For maybe the first month, they'll probably be very careful with them both. Springs has looked great. I think he'll be back probably a week or two after the All-Star break. So I don't mind this move at all. If it's a redraft league, I say go for it. But again, I would try to find somebody else to drop. I would try to hold Bobby Miller. And I know that pisses people off because they're like, Mike, he's been so bad. I don't have any shares of Bobby Miller, but I promise you, if he was dropped in my leagues, I'm going to get him immediately. I'll drop somebody else and hope and pray that he turns it even just a smidge around. The Dodgers are going to be good. They're going to get healthier, right? They're going to get some pieces back. They're going to get Mookie Betts back. They're a playoff team. They have Ohtani. He'll figure it out. He's going through a rough patch right now. So, all right. Eddie say you guys are talking to each other. Okay. I slapped him in the NA for now. Perfect move, Jamie. That's what I would do, brother. Grab Justin Robleski and AJ Smith-Shawver. Didn't AJ Smith-Shawver get optioned back to AAA? I thought I saw that today. Yeah. Eddie says Mike loves Bush. I do. I love me some Bush. I love me some Bush. I like Vientos too. So somebody asked me that question: Vientos or Bush? I think it's Vientos by hair, but Michael Bush probably needs to be owned while he's on a hot streak right now. EA All Day says, hear me out. If he's not traded, is Mason Miller droppable in the saves hold league? Only 2 saves in the last 30 days. Good hold guys like Trevor McGill, Brian Abreu available. Sucks with how bad the A's are. Nope, not droppable. And again, I'm going to stick to this. I sound like a broken record. The first move that people go to, and I understand that every league is different, right? The first move that people go to is straight drop. But hear me out, EA All Day. How do we know that there's not an owner in your league who loves Mason Miller? We don't know. So why not fish him out right now and say, does anybody want him? And kind of throw those and poke holes in it and say, hey, he could get traded to a contender. Anybody want him? And then somebody might buy him. And then you get something of value in return as opposed to just straight dropping for a Trevor McGill or a Brian Abreu. How do you know somebody's not willing to give you like a Frankie Lindor or something like that? Just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that's happening, but you get my drift. The first move is never to drop. The first move is always to trade. Look to trade first. Just throw offers out there. Make him part of a deal, right? Doesn't have to be 1-for-1. Make him part of a deal to sweeten the pot. Then if you're not getting any bites, and after a while, if you're getting impatient, then look to drop, right? I don't know how deep your league is, EA All Day, but I'm not dropping Mason Miller. I think they've been careful with him for a reason, obviously because of the injury he had last year, but also to the fact because they're probably going to be fielding offers from teams, and they want him healthy. They don't want to risk the aspect of getting him hurt. I think he'll probably start today, or not start, pitch out there today against the Red Sox, just to get some work in to showcase him. But I do think somebody's going to be aggressive and go out and get Mason Miller. So they're probably being careful with him. I'm not dropping him though. Always number one, always look to trade. Don't flat drop ever, especially with a talent like Mason Miller. All right. Jasper Springer, what's up, man? He says, evening folks. What's up, Jasper? Let's see. Lost season. No way. Rangers are going back-to-back World Series. I don't think that's happening. EA All Day. Did we see enough from Blake Snell to roll him out versus the Twins this Sunday? If so, would you drop Pivetta or Reese Olson to activate him from the IL? Quality start, wins, or categories in this league. That's cool. So you get both quality starts and wins. I like that actually. I'd be interested to know what the other options are. I'd like to hold Pivetta and Olson if possible, but I do think Blake Snell needs to be rostered for sure. Chad says, happy Bobby Miller demotion day. Chad, what was the bet with you and Nick Pollock? I can't remember what side of that coin you were on, but it looks like Chad is I think Chad was on the he's getting demoted train, so he may have called that one. Kudos to you, Chad. Make sure you guys follow Chad on Twitter X. Chow Chad TTV. He's part of the Pallazzo crew as well. Good guy. Good stuff. Gavin Williams' whip wasn't great last season. He didn't pass the eye test while he was pitching in Columbus. No, it's redraft. I worry about Gavin Williams' walks, and Pepio was terrible lately. Yep. But Gavin Williams is also just not out of a run-the-mill pitcher either. He's was one of the better pitching prospects in baseball last year and still was heading into this season. I think that's why a lot of people are in on him. Did get a lot of comparisons to Garrett Cole, just in terms of their delivery and their talent. So that's enough to get me excited about Gavin Williams. The elbow obviously is concerning to me, but and I was looking for him to bounce back against Detroit, which he did. If you watch that game, he 1,000,000% passed the eye test there. There'll be some bumps in the road, just like with every young pitcher or any starting pitcher for that matter. But the Guardians are one of the best teams in baseball, and Gavin Williams is going to be right in the thick of things as one of their best pitchers, along with Tanner Bybee. So Pepio has been bad, but he looked good against the Yankees. And again, a good strikeout guy for sure too. So, but here's the thing. Both these guys are going to pitch a lot more than Jacob deGrom though, dude. I think Jacob deGrom is going to just be eating away at your IL spot. And he's going to come up and maybe get a couple of innings in here and there just to get him some work. And that's it. So it just doesn't make any sense for him to pitch if they're not going to the playoffs, especially with how injury prone he is. Thanks for the advice. No problem, Eddie. Appreciate the question, brother. Angel Martinez just continues to rake, hitting between Quan and J-Ram. Yeah, free money. He's been hitting well, man. He's been hitting well for sure. Fantasy sports. How much are you encouraged by Gavin Williams and Shane Baugh's recent start? Really, I just got finished talking about fantasy sports. Really encouraged by Gavin Williams' last start against Detroit. I believe it was on Monday. I thought he looked really good. I watched that entire game, watched his entire start. He looked really, really good. So if you guys watched his first start, he just couldn't locate and was just throwing fastballs, wasn't relying on any other pitch, but just grooving fastballs and couldn't locate. And that's a recipe for disaster if you're just sticking to one pitch. So, and that's what happened to him on his first start against the White Sox. So, and that's why they hammered him, because they were just jumping all over his fastball. Love Gavin Williams rest of the season. I was really encouraged by that. Shane Baugh's, same thing. Depends on how many innings they let him throw. I know he's coming back from an injury here, and he's injury prone himself, but he looked good in his first start. And I expect that to continue, at least from a strikeout perspective, but tough division. I'm pro Pepio, but I agree with your thoughts on Gavin, Eddie Buzz. What specifically do you agree with, Chet? Sorry. That he's been bad with Pepio? Yeah. Or thoughts on Gavin, I think is what you said. I'm pro Pepio, but I agree with your thought. What thoughts on Gavin do we have there, Chad? I'm interested to hear your take too. Fantasy sports, confidence level on Noelvi Marte. I saw you rank him after Lowe, Keith, Bush, and Hoskins. Yeah, my confidence has obviously gone down a little bit. I don't like his spot in the lineup for one. He's chasing pitches. If you play in a dynasty league, he's a great buy low because I do think the talent's still there. I just think it's going to take him some time to get the wheels rolling again in Cincinnati. And they'll be patient with him. And he's shown some flashes as well. But the consistency is something that I'm down on in terms of the confidence. So EAL Day says, I feel you, man. Haven't found people don't love trading for pitchers, but will do my best. Yeah, I know, man. Don't make him just a straight 1-for-1 though. That's what I'm saying with Miller. Make him part of a deal. Package him with something as a sweetener to get somebody else. So Chad says, I can't disagree more on Miller, not just because of my absolute inability to see any hope for him, but at the end of the day, best case scenario is you get something akin to Brian Bayo for 2 months. I don't know what you mean, Chad. Sorry. Are you talking about Mason Miller? Oh, okay. So you're saying you're going to get comparisons to maybe a Bayo for the last 2 months. Okay. Hey, I know you were down on him heading into the season, so I know that's something that maybe you and I are different on, probably on the opposite end of the spectrum. And that is if the Dodgers don't make acquisitions that make it even harder for Miller to get back in the rotation. Yeah, I understand that point, but I think they're gonna get him back in there. I don't think that's something to be concerned about. When they bring him up, he'll be part of the rotation. But they're gonna let him get right down to AAA. I think it's more likely he ends up as a long reliever down the stretch and into the playoffs. Well, we'll see. Other options for Snell scenario would be Barrios or Gavin Williams. Barrios is more valuable in the quality six, trying to hold him. Yeah, I'd probably hold all of those guys. I can't remember what your question was, EA all day. I believe it was a pitcher question for Snell. Yeah, if I had to pick between Pivetta and Reese Olson, I'd probably go Pivetta for him. I like him better over I like Snell over Pivetta. All right. Keep the questions coming, guys. Appreciate it. Uncle Ted said Spencer Howard pitches tomorrow for the Guardians. Bet Carl Willis sprinkles his magic on his arm. I'm not really sure what that means, but yeah, I agree with you. This is probably a good thing for him in the long run, considering 2024. But current Gavin Williams reminds me a lot of 2023 version of Gavin and Gavin Stone. Okay, that's a solid comp. I like that. I think he's better than Gavin Stone. Gavin Stone's pitching well this year. He's actually pitching right now. Anybody want to give me an update on the Phillies and Dodgers game, though? Because I do have Christopher Sanchez going. I would love to know how he's doing. I believe they were up 1-0, if I'm not mistaken. Where they just don't look comfortable throwing their best stuff. Got it. Okay. EA all day says, would you trade Lane Thomas and Bybee to buy low on Semien? I would try to trade one of those guys for Semien. I wouldn't go both. I would look for maybe Lane Thomas for Semien or Bybee for Semien. I think Semien's been terrible. I just moved him in my home league. I couldn't do it anymore. And I was bitching to one of my home league friends because every year that I have Marcus Semien, he sucks. And for a while, I just didn't draft him. And then after last year, how well he did, I was like, all right, I'm back in. I'll draft him. And I have a lot of Marcus Semien shares across all of my leagues, and I was only able to move him in one of them. I was just so done with it, and somebody wanted him, so I was happy to get rid of him. So I actually moved Abrams for him straight up, so which I was ecstatic about. So, but worth noting that this guy who traded for Semien is also a Rangers fan, so maybe that's part of the reason. But I hammered accept. To your question here, EA all day, I would look to go. I value hitters more than I do pitchers, so I would look to move Bybee for Semien and see if somebody will bite on that. Obviously, he's not pitching well today. I believe that the Tigers are touching him up. I think for 4 runs so far. So probably not the best to. Well, maybe actually see if he'll accept Bybee for Semien. If not, I'm fine with doing Lane Thomas for him as well, especially if you need second baseman. Chad says 2-0 Phillies. Cool. Excellent. I need Christopher Sanchez to keep that going. I had Bailey Ober in that league as well, who didn't pitch extremely well. He gave one bad inning, and that Robert Homer killed him. Bybee getting slapped. Yeah, exactly. 3.1 innings, 4 earned runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 3 Ks. Yeah, not pitching well. So we'll see how he does rest. But that might be a good opportunity to move him for Semien. Who knows? How much are you enjoying Elite Brenton Doyle? Dude, so good. So good. I'm so happy about Brenton Doyle. Because I talk shit about him because it's rightfully so. His road numbers are terrible compared to what they are at home. And I had him all last week. And I was so happy with the production. I had him in my home league because he had 7 games at Coors and he absolutely raked. And then he hits a home run like on Monday. It's like 2 home runs on Monday. Or Tuesday, I can't remember which day it was. But I am loving Brenton Doyle right now. I'm not sensing a whole lot of love behind it either across the industry with Brenton Doyle, and I'm not sure why. I'm just riding the wave. I love Brenton Doyle right now. Good 2020 guy, man. He's going to get there. The stolen bases are there. The home runs are there. He just needs to improve his road splits, and he'll be fine. So it'll be fun to see how he progresses the rest of the season. But I was like, hey, I'm just going to drop him after Sunday. And I couldn't do it because I was like this close to doing the drop button. I'm like, I'll hold on to him and see how he does. And he's been doing it. So he is playing Cincinnati, which is like Coors Light, if you will. No pun intended there. But yeah, I love Doyle rest of the season. If he can improve his road numbers, I'm going to be really quick to drop him if he starts shit in the bed though. So. All right, Uncle Ted, don't trade Semien. No, he's trying to trade Semien. Or are you talking about me for trading him? Yeah, I couldn't do it, man. I was over him. I have Ketel Marte in this league too, so I had a little bit of wiggle room. So I moved Semien because I needed a shortstop. So, for a starter, no way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, if he's able to move Bybee to acquire Semien, I would do that in a heartbeat. 7 hour in 2 weeks is 7 home runs. Sorry, long day. I just read that as hour. 7 home runs in 2 weeks is absurd. Number 1 overall player in 14 days. Yeah, dude, he's killing it. I was super high on Doyle when he first got promoted way back, but it's been a long road. Yeah, I'm happy for him, man. I love it. It's weird because like I think sometimes he hits like lower in the lower half, like 5 or 6. I'd like to see him like replace Nolan Jones in his spot in the lineup and move up higher. I'd like to see him bat in the 2, 3, 4 hole. And that'll improve his counting stats, but he's been too good. If he's out there in your league, I would definitely ride the wave and get Brenton Doyle ASAP. EAL Day says Elliot Ramos or Burleson rest of season, both breakout guys looking great. Man, that is a good question. Burleson's been hot, man. He's had 2 home runs already this week. And I'm playing him in my home league, which I'm pissed about. Luckily, my opponent did not start him today for some weird reason. I don't think he set his lineup. But I think I'd probably go Burleson, but it's extremely close. If you're asking me who to roster between these guys, I would do everything I can to roster both. But if you had to make me pick one, I'm going to go Burleson. So Eddie says, nothing puts me in a bad mood in life except when my pitchers on my fantasy team gets rocked. F. Dude, same. Actually, you know what? It's funny because I get pissed when my hitters suck. If my pitchers get rocked, I don't give a shit. It's weird. But when my hitters suck, especially when I know I have a good hitting team, that pisses me off more than anything. And for some reason, we don't count strikeouts in any of my leagues. But when guys strike out with guys on base, that really pisses me off. Like, do something. Put the ball in play. Give me an RBI, move guys over, do something. I'd still be a little bit pissed off at it because you didn't get a hit knocking an RBI or whatever, but I just don't like when my guys don't hit. If my pitchers get rocked, it's whatever for me. But for some reason, when my hitters or when my team bats like 100, like 160, 170, 180 for the day, I get pissed. So mad. It's the quickest way to ruin my mood. TM says, how do you rank these outfielders head-to-head points? Buxton, I believe that's Castellanos, TJ Friedel, Arozarena, Nootbaar. Well, this is a good one. I like this question. I am going to go Arozarena, Castellanos, Friedel, Nootbaar, Buxton. That's how I'm ranking them. Appreciate the question, TM. Keep them coming, man. Okay, real question for you with Craig Kimbrell's Rasanas. Oh, okay, I got you. Are the O's out for Mason Miller and maybe the entire relief market? It's a good question, Chad. No, I don't. I think they're going to be patient with Craig Kimbrell, because here's the thing: it's going to take a king's ransom. I don't think Mason Miller's going anywhere. Just let me put that out there first, because I think the A's are going to want a king's ransom for him, and they should, because he's going to be under team control. He's obviously been lights out this season. The only way that this would make sense for the O's, because I do think he would probably be a combo between him and Kimbrell, because I still think it's probably Kimbrell's job, right? So he'd have to be a long relief. They will not make him a starter this year, and then when Felix Bautista comes back, Kimbrell will be gone. They'll still have Mason Miller. That's going to be a really fun 8-9 punch right there, right? If they had Mason Miller and Felix Bautista, that'd be sick. I just think it's going to take too much of our prospects to get him, and I'm not willing to buy that. So I love Mason Miller. I think everyone's known that. I was super high on him coming into the season as the closer. Remember when everyone thought Danny Jimenez was going to get the job, and we're like, oh, they're going to start with him? I'm like, no. It was Mason Miller from the get-go, and he's been nothing short of exceptional all season. He's been the best relief pitcher in baseball for a really bad team in the A's. So to answer your question, Chad, I don't think he's going to be with us. I would be shocked if Mike Elias gave up that much prospect capital to get a relief pitcher. The only way it would make sense for us move in the long term is if they transition Mason Miller back to a starting gig, which I would love that. If he was able to come back to being a starter, but especially with the injury concerns they had last year, I believe it was his elbow, and how hard he throws. Tommy John's likely in his future. I don't think any team's going to have the capital to acquire Mason Miller, nor want to pay that price tag. So I think Mason Miller's staying put with the A's. That's just my personal take on it. I'd be shocked if somebody acquired him and gave up that much draft capital to get him for a relief role this year, and who knows what he looks like as a starter next year. It's just too many unknowns for me. But yeah, they will be good with Craig Kimbrell. I do think they'll go out and get and target some more relievers. They always need a starter first off, 100%. So I would love for them to go out and get a 3-4-5 guy. Ben brought up a good, for those of you guys who don't follow Benjamin Chase, make sure you guys do that at Big Gentle Ben. Our prospect guru here at Pallazzo. And he brought up a great point when we talked about it on the Ask Me Anything a couple weeks back. There's just not a starting pitcher like an ace or a number 2 that's available for the O's to go out and grab, right? So if anything, you're going to be looking at it maybe like a 3-4-5 guy. Jesus Luzardo was a great trade target for us. He's hurt now, so that's obviously off the table. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know who they're going to go out and get. But I do think they need a starter, and I do think they need some relief help. Everybody's going to be looking to push to get relievers, though, come the deadline. So I think that'll be very, very competitive in terms of acquiring relievers for the trade deadline. John Singleton is this year's Casas. Bet he goes yard tonight. Fun fact, Uncle Ted, John Singleton was at my wedding. He is married to one of my wife's best friends, who they played softball together at Charleston Southern. Down in Charleston, South Carolina. So John Singleton was at my wedding. Good dude. Love him. Yeah, I like that. I don't know if he's this year's Casas, but he has been playing well, hitting the ball. And that the Astros needed that because they were getting nothing out of their first baseman, especially with Jose Abreu. So it's nice to see John starting to hit the ball. So good for him. Matt Wallner hitting nukes again. Yeah, dude, he hits the ball so damn hard. They talked about it on the other day, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, where he just hit like a routine, like single or a double, and it was like hit at like 119 miles an hour. Like, did you just hit the absolute piss out of the baseball? So Did he hit a home run, Uncle Ted? I didn't see. When my hitters go against my pitchers, I want them to go 0 for 4 of the day. Oh no, I'd rather have my hitters do better than my pitchers. I'm a hitters guy. Give me all the hitters, guys. I don't like pitchers. More of a league strategy question. How do you make pitchers more valuable overall? My league struggles with it because of streamers, emergence of prospect pitchers, and counting quality starts and W's. Any thoughts? Yeah, that's a little bit difficult too, especially in this league because you count both quality starts and wins. So somebody could punt one of those two categories, right? So if I were that, I would punt wins. Well, I would actually punt both to begin with, and just stream. And streamers would probably be ultra competitive in this league, I would imagine, in terms of just playing matchups and stuff. So, if we're talking about going back to Mason Miller, obviously he's a reliever. So, you guys playing a holds league or a saves plus holds? Or is it just saves? Because that would help too, like a K per 9. Mason Miller's obviously a lot more valuable in those type formats. But to answer your question is how do you make more pitches more valuable overall? Here's the thing. I don't know of many people who are just going to trade straight up a pitcher for a hitter. So pitchers for me have always been part of a package when I make trades. They never just like, hey, I'll give you Tanner Bybee for X, or I'll give you for a hitter, or I'll give you Logan Gilbert for a hitter. Like I always make them part of a deal. So for me, it's always like, hey, you probably get a little bit of the better on the pitching side, and I get a little bit of better on the hitting side. That's what I'm looking to trade for, and hope that people take the bait on that. But a 1-for-1, it sounds like in this league is going to be a little bit more difficult here for EA all day, at least from a starting pitcher perspective, especially if you count both quality starts and wins. So if you're looking to trade a pitcher for a hitter, I would package them part of a deal. Maybe do a 2-for-1, maybe do a 2-for-2, where your counterpart is getting a little bit of the better end of the pitching side, and you get a little bit better of the hitting side. Chad says it's really amazing how he went from they're 100% acquiring closer to Kimbrel's lead again. Yeah, I agree, dude. I'm not a Kimbrel fan, man. I have made this clear when we did Bozo Fest before the season. I said I did not trust him, and then he had that whole thing where he just wasn't good. The O's are not going to go anywhere unless they get a lockdown closer. And now I hope I'm wrong. With Craig Kimbrel, I hope he continues to shove like this. I just don't see that happening with how much tread he has on the tires. I think he'll poo-poo out, and we don't have a guy behind him. Maybe Jacob Webb. I like him a lot. He's been pitching well, but I like him better as like a stealth option, like in the 7th to 8th, like the stopper role. So yeah, I agree with you. I just don't know if it's going to be Mason Miller, Chad. I really don't, because I don't think Elias is going to be willing to part with that much prospect capital to acquire a guy who we have no idea what he's going to look like as a starter. And noting that the fact of if you're looking at him just be a closer this year, then what do you do with Felix Bautista? Bullpen would be good. That'd be great. I mean, like I said, Bautista and Miller is a great problem to have, and you can mix and match those guys, I guess. But I don't know who they would acquire from a closer perspective if it's not Mason Miller, though. That's the thing. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't like Kimbrel. I think I've made my thoughts on that really, really clear. Especially going into the season, and I still hold to that. I'm just not a Craig Kimbrel guy. Never really have been, honestly. I traded Wilyer Abreu and Yanair Diaz for Mason Miller in early May. I don't regret it. Hell yeah, man. I love that trade for you. Hell yeah. And you got to hope Mason Miller goes somewhere where he's still closing. I'll actually open this up to the chat. If Mason Miller doesn't get traded to the Orioles, which has been a very big buzzy thing for him, it's not happening. I really, really, really like if I had to bet my house with my mother in it, the O's are not getting him. So if it's not the O's, where do you think Mason Miller ends up? Do you think he, 1, stays with Oakland, or 2, do you think he goes somewhere else? And if that's the case, where do you see him landing at? What contender needs a Mason Miller other than the Orioles? Be interested to hear y'all's thoughts. Drop it in the live chat. I don't trust Kimbrel to hold up. Yeah, I agree with you, Eddie. Chase McDermott. Yes, we talked about this. I love Chase McDermott, man. I hope the O's bring him up. I really do. I like him better than Cade Povich. Ben and I talked about him a couple weeks back on it as well, but he looks so good. And I think Britton talked about him as well on Sunday's Waiver Wire show. I love Chase McDermott, man. That's not a typo. That's how he spells his name. Chayse. He looks so good. And I really want him. If we need a starter, and we don't want to give away anything, like I'm totally cool with going Cade Povich and Chase McDermott to fit them somewhere in their rotation. That'd be awesome. I would love Chase McDermott to come up. I'm super high on him. I'd love him. Great call, Eddie. Chad says, I'm shocked they didn't already grab Dakota Hudson with Colorado leaving him, waiving him. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. We're not going to go out and get another guy like Dakota Hudson. Maybe they use him as a long reliever or like a opener. I could see that. That'd be cool, actually, now that I think about it. They're not going to let him be a starter, though, if he comes with us. Severino, Quintana, Manaya for the O's. Mets looking to rebuild their farm system. The Mets are in the swing of things, man. I don't think they're getting rid of anybody. I'd be shocked if they got rid of all three of those guys. And maybe I'm wrong here. I just want to see where they are in the playoff hunt here. So the Mets are currently, they're right there for the last wild card spot. They're only a game and a half out of the third wild card spot. So I don't see them being sellers, honestly. How many games are they out in the division here? Yeah, they're 13 and a half out in the division behind Philly, but they're only 1.5 out from the third wild card spot. So I don't see them getting ready to be any of those guys. I actually think the Mets are going to be buyers at the deadline, but we'll see. But I would love, all these guys, I would love Quintana. I would like him because I think we need a lefty. All right. Plus, not to mention too, none of these guys are going to be able to acquire like one of our top prospects. I don't think that's in the mix. It's going to be a lower end prospect that we'd go for some of these guys, being is that they're a lot longer in the tooth. And I'd be shocked if they got rid of one of our top guys for any of those guys. Bienny, what's up, Mike? Late to the live, but here to support. Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. You're always in here with us, dude. Always showing love. Appreciate it, man. Make sure for those of you guys who are watching us, we have 156 viewers right now. Make sure you guys go check us out on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow all the guys on Pallazzo, myself, Britton, Govier, Robbie, Sam, and Ben. So make sure you guys go do that. Please, please, please. And then also right here in the upper left-hand corner, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple and or Spotify podcast. That'd be phenomenal. Really helps the show grow. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already done so, go to the YouTube, hit subscribe, steal your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your grandmother, your aunts, hit the subscribe button, make a fake YouTube account. I don't care. And help us out and get those numbers up. We're trying to get to 1,000 by year's end, which I think we can do. We're almost there. I think we're like at 850 something. Chad says, that's hilarious. You know, Singleton. I know Mark Appel together. We have the greatest hits of pre-cheating press. Just top prospects. Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah. Yeah, John's a good dude, man. Really, really fun, really chill, laid back. His wife is also really, really nice. Good dude. I'm glad to see him up and playing well for the Astros. Uncle Ted said, yeah, Wallner went yard. Yeah. Okay. Figured as much. That's why you made that comment. You have to limit waivers to 1 day. Fixes those shitty teams with just pickups every two-stepper. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the question when he asked about how to for the quality starts and wins for pitchers. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I honestly think, too, EA all day, if you're still watching, I would talk to your commissioner and do one of those two, quality starts or wins, not both. I really don't understand that. But I do like that because that's fun. I haven't seen that in a while. What are your thoughts on Ellie for next year? Will he be a first-round talent next year with the base stealing he's doing? It's a good question, man. I actually really like this question a lot, Jamie. I know a lot of people are buzzy on him. While I have you guys, let me just look it up real quick. I was not willing to pay his draft price this year. If he goes in the first round next year, I am 1,000,000% not buying it then. I love the talent. I think he's a freak. I think he's super fast. The stolen base, he's going to win stolen bases for you. No doubt. He's already got 45 stolen bases. Is that a typo? Holy shit. Yeah, he's got 45 stolen bases. He's hitting 251. But he's still striking out 31% of the time, and that is not good. And his whiff percentage is at 32.8%. Those rank respectively in some of the worst in baseball right now. So his K percentage ranks in the bottom 7%, and his whiff percentage ranks in the bottom 6% of the league. That's not first-round talent. I think next year, here's the thing. If he's going to the first round, I'm not buying him. But if his ADP was roughly where it was at this year, I might be looking to buy just from the stolen base perspective in hopes that he cuts down on the K percentage. He's only been in the league 2 years. His K percentage last year was 33.7. It's at 31 still right now. He has been drawing more walks, which is good. And I think as he continues to progress, he could cut down on that, maybe get those numbers in the high 20s. But And they're not sending him down. It's just it's really, really shitty to have your number one prospect, one of the best players in baseball, strike out 31% of the time. But who knows? But I'm not buying a first round price tag on him, Jamie. No way, no how. Can't do it. Put your Mike Elias hat on. When does Mayo get the call? Must roster in formats once he does. 100%. If he gets, first off, I think he should be up now because I hate Ramon Urias. Good glove. I get it. They're not trying to rush Mayo. I could see Mayo up in August, early August. He's got nothing left to prove down in AAA. I think they're going to wait until after the trade deadline to see how some things shake out and moving some guys around. You never know because he could be part of a trade package to go out and get somebody. I don't know who that is, but once the trade deadline is over, maybe they look to bring him up. I'm ready to move on from Ramon Urias. I have been since the start of the season. I thought Mayo did enough to prove himself to win the job in spring training, but obviously they brought up Jackson Holiday instead. Jackson Holiday didn't play well. So I would put Mayo at third, move Westberg over to second. Obviously Gunnar plays shortstop. So I think he's probably up in August. That's my guess there, EAL day. But once he is up, he is must roster 100%, especially in that lineup. National selling, just bring back Hunter Harvey. Dude, you know what? I don't know if you're joking or not, Chad. I would love that. I love Hunter Harvey. He's not a closer, but I definitely like him as a relief arm 100%. I would love him in the 7th or 8th. Yeah. Former Hunter Harvey is with the Nationals. If they're looking to sell him, I'm 100% buying if I'm Mike Elias. But it also depends on the price tag too. So Eddie says, "Are you talking about Mason Miller? Stays with Oakland with Jacob Wilson." Yeah, I think he's staying. I don't think he's going anywhere. They can replace them with Christian Scott, Jose Budo, and Tyler McGill. Yeah, you're talking about from the other guys like Minaya, Quintana, and who's the other guy? Severino. Yeah, I get it, but they're only a game and a half out of the third wildcard spot. So why would we be looking to trade starters? Does that make sense? I mean, like McGill, I'd 100% see them getting rid of. He sucks. Christian Scott, Jose Budo both look good, but they're rookies too. So it's one of those things too where Christian Scott, how many innings did they let him throw? He hasn't been really good. He can't put away batters. So if anything, especially in his last start, he did well against Pittsburgh, but they pulled him after like 70-something pitches. So that doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me that says, you know what? Let's trade Severino, Quintana, or Minaya. Let's get rid of one of these guys so we can have him. No. I like Christian Scott a lot in dynasty formats. I just don't think they're going to get rid of one of these guys. McGill, I could see, but they're not going to get rid of Severino, Quintana, or Minaya. I think they'll be there, especially if they're only a game and a half out. So Mets have talked about moving their expiring SPs while still contending possibly to trade Severino, but acquire an SP with years left elsewhere. I just don't. I don't get that because at the same time too, like who you're going to be to this question here to looking to acquire another starting pitcher. It's a lateral move. Why would we move Severino just to acquire somebody else? I'd rather just have Severino. But that's the reason why I'm not a baseball GM. So fantasy sports is Kobe Mayo or Junior Caminero. Sorry, questions worded little weird. Is Kobe Mayo and Junior Caminero our best remaining must-add prospects left in the minors once call up? Yeah, I'd say so. Caminero for sure. If I had to pick between Caminero and Mayo, it's 100% Caminero. I actually think the White Sox are going to be looking to move DeYoung at the deadline. I have not checked in on Colson Montgomery for the White Sox, but I like him a lot too. And if DeYoung gets moved, I could see him coming up. So far right now in the minors, well, actually I take that back. So far in the minors this year, he's only hitting 215. So I think they'll probably be patient with Colson Montgomery, but you never know. I was high on him coming into the season. Let me see here. To answer your question, I think those are the two best for sure. Fantasy sports. I definitely think it's Caminero and Mayo. Don't think we'll see Dylan Cruz this year. Don't think we'll see Walker Jenkins. Don't think we'll see Ethan Salas or Marcelo Mayer. Jordan Lawler is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. He just got hurt again. Yeah, I'd say that's it, man. That's probably my bet there. Those are the two best guys. Jason Dominguez is another person too. I don't know when he'll come up, if at all, but if maybe the Yankees move on from somebody or whatever, like if somebody gets hurt, he's another guy. I'd probably put Dominguez third on that list. But if he gets called, he's must add as well. I'd love to see someone get over 100 stolen bases like back in the day with Ricky Henderson, Vince Coleman, Otis Nixon, one. Yeah, dude, that'd be so cool. If and Ellie has the potential to do that. And that's the thing too. That's what's so crazy about this. He's going to have roughly 50 stolen bases. He could do it this year at the halfway mark. When the All-Star break hits, he could have around 50 stolen bases. So he's going to be flirting with that. I think it's probably safe to say that he gets to 70. I think I'd set the over under at 70.5, and I'd probably take the over. I think he gets like in the low 70s. But yeah, I would love to see that. If he cut down on his strikeout percentage, man, I think that he could do that. I really do think that, because you're not catching him. I would love to see a 100 stolen base guy. I agree with you, Eddie. That'd be so much fun to see. But especially now with the way throwing over and things like that happen, it's a lot easier to steal stolen bases now. So I definitely think he can get to that. And I think we could see another 100 stolen base guy. Mayo played first base last night for Norfolk. Yeah, I know. I just don't think the first base is going to be blocked. Like, what do you do with Mountcastle? What do you do with Ryan O'Hearn? And then not to mention too, from the DH perspective, Adley plays DH. So you're going to be mixing and matching Mountcastle and O'Hearn at first base. So I don't see Mayo playing there a whole lot up with us. It was funny too, because I was listening to one of the Orioles beat writers. I can't remember the stats off the top of my head. When Adley catches, he hits like in the lower 200s, and when he doesn't, his batting average is like astronomically more high. So I think first base is blocked. First base and DH are going to be clogged by Mountcastle, O'Hearn, and Adley. So, and then whoever's not doing that, Mountcastle and O'Hearn will be playing first base. So here's the thing too. There's no way they go, hey, let's plug him in at first and relieve Ramon Urias at third. I just don't see that happening. So Ramon Urias at third base is the odd man out here. Eddie, I don't think Mayo's playing first base with us up in the big leagues, but it's nice to see that he'll get some experience, and he could plug in there, maybe get him some reps there if one of these guys were to go down. But I think it's Mountcastle and O'Hearn there for us rest of season. He says Ryan Mountcastle gets traded in the offseason, Mayo at first base, holidays. I 100% agree with this. This makes a lot more sense to me. I think Mountcastle's, especially with all the young talent that we have, I would love this infield. I've said this from the get-go. Mayo at first, Holiday at second, Henderson at short, and Westberg at third. I would love that infield. That's so much fun. But I love Mountie so much too. I would actually like to see them move on from Ryan O'Hearn and let Mountcastle stay with us. So that's just me. I'm not a big Ryan O'Hearn guy. If my brother's watching, he's a big Ryan O'Hearn guy. He doesn't understand why I don't like him. Can't hit lefties. Mets think they can do both. Well, we'll see. We'll see. They also get Senga back soon. Good point here, Chad. Didn't think about that. So, yeah, that's actually a really good point. They might be able to maybe move one of those guys. Let's see. Mike, let's revisit the conversation about the Mets rotation after the trade deadline. Let's please do. Montgomery's average is terrible in Charlotte. Yeah, I just talked about that. He's only hitting like 211. That sucks. But I liked him a lot going into the season. So, and I still do. But who are the other alternatives if they were to trade Paul DeYoung? Like, do you think they'd go and say, hey, like Colson Montgomery, we're going to let you figure it out here in the bigs because we got nothing to play for? Who knows? I would like to see them do that because I have a couple shares of Colson Montgomery in a couple of dynasty leagues. So I would like to see him get some seasoning and be their shortstop for next year. So, but we'll see. All right. Eddie says, I like Lawler and Joe for September or mid-August. Oh, Jackson Joe. Well, Lawler's out 6 to 8 weeks. He just got hurt today. So that puts him probably in September, if at all, that they're going to bring him up. So I think it's a lost season for Lawler. I don't see him up at all. Jackson Job. I saw some interesting things about Tarek Skubal possibly getting traded on Twitter the other day, which I don't think is going to happen either. It's going to be a king's ransom to get him. But yeah, that infield could grow together much like the Dodgers infield did in the mid to late 70s. Yeah. You're talking about the Orioles. I would agree with that. It still amazes me that I randomly predicted this Ryan O'Hearn being a thing. Honestly, the prediction that brings me the most joy of all my predictions because good for him. I'm not a big Ryan O'Hearn guy. I understand he's been really good for us. I don't like the fact that he can't hit lefties. Like I said, I would love for them to move on from him and let Mountcastle stay with us. I've always been a Mountcastle guy as well. People forget Ryan Mountcastle used to play shortstop too. Isn't that crazy? When he came up with us. I'd rather have Ryan Mountcastle than Ryan O'Hearn. I don't care if somebody said, well, yeah, even if Ryan O'Hearn was cheaper, yes, I'd spend more money on Mountcastle than O'Hearn. I'd get rid of him first. In fact, why don't we look to trade Ryan O'Hearn for a starter for the Mets? You know what? That's a great deal. We just figured it out, folks. I just thought about it. Ready for this? Let's trade Ryan O'Hearn for Luis Severino or Jose Quintana. Love that deal. Who's pulling the trigger on that? Me. I'm doing that. I would love that trade. That'd be fun. Fuck Ryan O'Hearn. Get him out of here. Eddie Buzz says Moncada back at third. And Sosa shortstop. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with you. I was a huge Mountcastle guy. The fact that I once ranked him ahead of Raffy Devers, that's a little bullish. Yeah. I don't like him better than Raffy, but Mountcastle's an Oriole from the draft. Yep. Homegrown. Mets aren't doing that. I would love for them to do that. Here's the thing. If I have to get rid of like a Norby or a Kjerstad or any of our top guys to acquire one of those, or Dylan Beavers, or I'm trying to think who else, any of our pitching prospects, I don't want it. So, yeah, not for me. I just don't want any of those guys. It makes sense. It does. But let's package Ramon Urias, Ryan O'Hearn, and Cedric Mullins. Get those guys out of here and bring in one of those Wiley vets. I would do that. As long as I don't have to give up one of my top prospects. If they ask for a lower level prospect, yeah, and Eddie's saying that right now, Matt's would ask for a lower level prospect. I'd be good with that. So, all right, we are coming up on 8:30. If you guys got questions for your fantasy team, drop in the live chat. Happy to help. I'm only going to be here for a couple of more minutes. Then I got to check how my teams are doing here, guys. Hey, Luis Newbar. Lars Newbar hit a home run. That's fun. Let's see here. Jonathan India with a homer. That's cool. Trying to think. Everybody else, I'm like, what? Who cares? Like Juan Yepez. Who cares? Sam Hilliard with a home run. How are my Phillies doing? That's tied 2-2. God damn it. Okay. All right. Well, here, what we got here? What do you make of the Newbar Ciani conversation? Was there a deal I'm sorry, I don't understand the question there, Chad. Help me out here. What enlighten me, because I don't know what we're talking about. Maybe I missed it, but help me out. 5 more minutes here, guys. Let me know if you got any more questions. Otherwise, I'm going to hop off. Just real quick, I do want to touch on a couple things. Friday we'll be back. Myself, Govier, possibly Britton. 2 of the 3 of us will be on for Friday's big show. A lot to talk about. Sunday, I'll be back for the Waiver Wire show. That starts Sundays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys get in there. Get ready for the week ahead. Appreciate everybody jumping on. Thank you guys very much. Chad, hit me up separately. I want to know what your thoughts are on the Newbar Ciani conversation. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. What time Friday? Eddie asks. Hang on. Sorry. What time Friday? It's going to be roughly around 3:30, 4 o'clock, probably, Eddie. We'll tweet it out. That's usually when we do the shows, those that 3:30, 4 o'clock time frame. So be on the lookout for that. But that'll be a combination of all 3 of us, 2 of us, whatever it may be. But that'll be Friday. Make sure you guys check us out. We got a lot of fun bits and segments coming up, so that'll be fun, especially as we get closer and closer to the All-Star break. Chad says there was talk that Newbar wouldn't start over Ciani because of how good Ciani has been defensively while also swinging a hot bat. Yeah, I think they're going to let Newbar get in there. I don't know. To answer your question in short, they'll probably be careful with Newbar and ease him back into things, so I could see somewhat of a split. But I think they like Newbar enough to give the job back to him once everything's good. EL Day says, Mike, thanks for doing this, man. Have a direct access to ask these questions is so rare. Much appreciated. Absolutely, brother. And for those of you guys who didn't get your question answered today, get in our Pallazzo Podcast Discord. Chad's in there. Govier's in there. A lot of other great minds. Uncle Ted's in there. Ben's in there. Everybody. Even folks who aren't necessarily on the show, There's a lot of great minds in there who love talking baseball, who know their stuff. So if you guys aren't already in our Discord, it's free. Get in there, ask your questions, engage with us. There's a ton of cool channels in there. Highly recommend it. It's a good resource. But I appreciate the love, EA all day. For those of you guys who didn't get your questions answered, hit me up on Twitter at _Mike Virginia. Get in the mentions, not my DMs, because again, it's funny because I had a couple people reach out to me even after I tweeted out that I'm not doing DMs anymore. Continue to hit me up on DMs. It's not the fact that I don't want to answer questions. It's like I get like 30 to 40 DMs a day asking me questions. And if all of those were mentions, the algorithm on Twitter would grow and it would be a lot more visible in the space. So my DMs will open back up at some point, but please make sure you mention me first and foremost so that maybe somebody else has the same question that you do. Right. And it really helps me grow within the space. So I appreciate it. Eddie says, great, I'll be there. Thank you. Absolutely, brother. We'd love to have you, man. Make sure you join us on Friday. Everybody in here, make sure you join us. Jamie says, have a good one, Mike. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You too. Chad says, a lot of great minds in there, plus me and Mike. There you go. Exactly. I think Chad's got his own channel. I got my own channel. Make sure you guys check us out. Get in the Discord. All right. I'm going to go watch baseball. Thank you guys very much for joining. I appreciate it. Make sure you come check us out on Friday, 3:30, 4 o'clock Eastern. Sunday, 12 o'clock Eastern for the Waiver Wire show, me and Britton. Check us out for that. And we will see you guys later in the week. Thank you guys very much for jumping on here today, engaging with me, asking me all the same questions. I love talking baseball. I could do this all day. So just like Captain America, Steve Rogers, baby. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys later in the week. I'm Mike VA, Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. We'll see you guys.
Utah, give me 2.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Utah.
All right. Thanks. Bye.